For 50,000 years, they have been silent, their world buried beneath layers of ice and time. But what if we could break that silence? What if we could reach back across the millennia and bring them back, not as fossils, not as reconstructions in a museum, but as living, breathing beings? This isn't science fiction. This is a question being seriously debated in labs around the world. Tonight, we explored the ultimate revival project. The resurrection of the Neanderthals. Cool, do we do it? And more importantly, should we? Imagine a world not just inhabited by Homo sapiens, but shared. Imagine looking into the eyes of another human species. For hundreds of thousands of years, Neanderthals thrived across Europe and Asia. They weren't the brutish cavemen of popular cartoons. They were intelligent, sophisticated toolmakers. They buried their dead with care, adorned themselves with ornaments, and likely had a form of language. Their brains were, on average, even slightly larger than ours. They were masters of survival in the harsh Ice Age world. So, what happened? Around 40,000 years ago, their disappearance coincides with the arrival of our own ancestors, Homo sapiens, in Europe. Was it conflict? Climate change? Disease? Or were they simply absorbed into our own gene pool? The mystery of their extinction is one of science's most enduring puzzles. But now, a new chapter is unfolding. Thanks to incredible advances in genetics, the complete Neanderthal genome was sequenced in 2010. Scientists painstakingly pieced it together from fragments of ancient DNA extracted from fossilized bones found in a Croatian cave. This genetic blueprint, this book of life, revealed something astonishing. Most modern humans of non-African descent carry between 1% to 2% Neanderthal DNA. They never truly left us. Their legacy is written in our own cells, influencing everything from our immune systems to our susceptibility to certain diseases. This discovery opened a Pandora's box of possibilities. If we have their complete genetic code, what's stopping us from bringing them back? The answer lies in a revolutionary technology. CRISPR, CRISPR-Cas9, is like a biological word processor. It allows scientists to find specific sequences of DNA and edit them with unprecedented precision to cut, paste, and rewrite the very code of life. The theoretical roadmap for extinction, while incredibly complex, is conceptually straightforward. You would start with a human stem cell. Using CRISPR, you would then make tens of thousands of edits, changing the human DNA sequences to match the Neanderthal genome at key points that define their unique traits. This modified nucleus would then be placed into a human egg cell that has had its own nucleus removed. This process is known as somatic cell nuclear transfer, the same technique used to clone Dolly the sheep. If the egg develops into an embryo, it would then be implanted into a surrogate mother, a human surrogate. This is where the science fiction becomes a profound ethical dilemma. We're no longer just talking about editing genes in a petri dish. We're talking about creating a person. Let's listen in on a conversation that could be happening right now between two leading figures in the field. Let's call them Dr. Aris Thorne, a geneticist pioneering DNA, and Dr. Lena Petrova, a paleoanthropologist, Imagine them in a university office, late at night, surrounded by books and models of ancient skulls. Aris might start, his voice filled with passion. Lena, the data is undeniable. The technology is almost there. We're on the cusp of correcting a great extinction. We could learn so much. How their minds worked, what their language was like, their unique physiology. This isn't just about bringing back an animal. It's about understanding ourselves, our own evolutionary journey. It would be the greatest scientific achievement in human history. Lena would likely sigh, her expression troubled. Aris, you see a scientific achievement? I see an unprecedented ethical catastrophe. You talk about a Neanderthal, but you mean a person, a child, who gives us the right to create a human being for the purpose of study. This individual would be utterly alone, the last of their kind in a world that is not their own. They would have no family, no culture, no one who could truly understand them. We'd be creating a life destined for suffering, to be a living exhibit in our global museum. Aris would lean forward, but we could prepare. We could create a community. We could raise several of them together, in a protected environment where they could thrive. We have a moral obligation to restore the biodiversity we've destroyed. Neanderthals are our closest extinct relatives. If we can bring them back, we should. An obligation. Lena would counter, her voice sharp. Our obligation is to the living. How can we justify spending billions on this vanity project, when we can't even solve hunger or cure existing diseases? And what about the surrogate mother? The psychological and physical risks to a human woman carrying a Neanderthal fetus are completely unknown. You're so focused on the what if that you're ignoring the real human cost. This isn't Jurassic Park, Eris. There are no cages that can protect a person's soul from profound loneliness and exploitation. This fictional dialogue captures the heart of the debate. On one, see the intoxicating pull of scientific discovery and the potential to answer fundamental questions about our own humanity. On the other, a deep-seated concern for the welfare of the individual being created and the moral hubris of playing God. The technical hurdles are just as daunting as the ethical ones. Even with CRISPR, making thousands of precise edits without causing unintended, harmful mutations is a monumental task. Our understanding of the genome is still incomplete. We know the letters, but we're only just beginning to understand the grammar. A single misplaced edit could lead to catastrophic health problems for the resulting individual. Furthermore, DNA is only part of the story. The environment in the womb, the mother's epigenetics, the microbiome, all of these play a crucial role in development. A human mother cannot perfectly replicate the gestational environment of a Neanderthal mother. The child born would be something new, a hybrid approximation, not a true reconstruction. Let's pause here for a moment. This is a topic that sparks incredible debate, and we want to know what you think. Do the potential scientific benefits outweigh the ethical risks? Who should get to make this decision? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're refining this exploration into the past and future of humanity as fascinating as we are, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue making deep dive content like this. Now, let's step away from the hypothetical lab and into the office of a journalist, interviewing an ethicist for a major news publication. We'll call the journalist Ben, and the ethicist Professor Eva. Ben might begin. Professor proponents of this project argue that it's no different from IVF or other assisted reproductive technologies. How would you respond to that? Professor Rostova would adjust her glasses, her gaze direct. That's a fundamentally flawed comparison. IVF helps individuals have a child they deeply want, a child who will be born into a loving family and a society of its peers. The goal is the well-being of the child and the family. The primary goal of Neanderthal extinction, no matter how it's framed, is scientific curiosity. The individual's welfare is, at best, a secondary consideration. The child would be an object of study from the moment of conception. Every breath, every word, every action would be scrutinized. They would have no privacy, no chance at a normal life. What legal rights would they have? Would they be a citizen? Would they be considered human under the law? We have no framework for this. Ben would scribble in his notepad. So, you're saying it's the intent that matters? Precisely, she'd affirm, and the consequences. Imagine the media circus, the religious protests, the scientific exploitation. This person would be the ultimate celebrity and the ultimate outcast. We have a terrible track record when it comes to treating those we perceive as different. We can't even consistently grant basic human rights to all members of our own species. What makes us think we would do right by a member of another? We would be creating a life not to be loved, but to be observed. It is the loneliest fate I can possibly imagine. But Ben might press. What if it's a success? What if the Neanderthal individual is healthy, intelligent, and integrates well? Professor Rustova would likely offer a sad smile. That is the hope, of course. But hope is not a plan, and integrates well into what? A world that is faster, louder, and more crowded than anything their biology was designed for. A world with pathogens their immune system has never encountered. Even with the best intentions, we would be setting them up for a life of struggle. The fundamental question is this: does our desire for knowledge give us the right to inflict potential, foreseeable suffering on another sentient being? For me, the answer is a clear and resounding no. Our scientific genius has outpaced our moral wisdom. We need to let wisdom catch up. Professor Rostova's words hang heavy in the air. The legal and social chaos would be immense. How would our society react? Would we see them as brothers, as cousins returned from a long journey? Or would we see them as monsters, as threats, as subhuman? History tells us to be wary. The story of Oda Benga, the Mbuti man displayed in an enclosure at the Bronx Zoo in 1906, is a chilling reminder of our capacity for cruelty when faced with the other. Would a resurrected Neanderthal face a similar, albeit more modern, fate? Scrutinized on reality TV, hounded by paparazzi, their every move documented for public consumption, the project would force us to confront our very definition of human. For centuries, we have defined ourselves by what we are not. We are not apes. We are not Neanderthals. Our identity as Homo sapiens, the wise man, is built on the idea of our own uniqueness, our special place at the top of the evolutionary tree. The presence of another intelligent human species would shatter that illusion. It would force us to ask, what does it truly mean to be human? Is it our intelligence, our capacity for art, or our capacity for empathy? The return of the Neanderthals could be the ultimate test of that empathy, a test we may not be ready to pass. Beyond the ethics of one individual, consider the broader implications. If we can resurrect a Neanderthal, what's next? The woolly mammoth? The saber-toothed cat? Do we begin to reshape the planet's ecology, reintroducing species into ecosystems that have long since adapted to their absence? This isn't just about one person. It's about a technological threshold. Once we cross it, there may be no going back. We would seize direct and deliberate control over the course of evolution on Earth. It's a power of biblical proportions, and it's not clear that we possess the wisdom to wield it. George Cheered, the Harvard geneticist at the forefront of this field, has famously stated that he could resurrect a Neanderthal if he had a willing human surrogate. The statement is as tantalizing as it is terrifying. It makes the abstract real. The science is advancing at a breathtaking pace. Gene editing is becoming cheaper, more efficient, and more widespread every year. What is technically impossible today might be commonplace in a decade or two. The question is not just can we, but when will we be forced to decide? This isn't a decision that should be left to a handful of scientists in a lab. It's a conversation that belongs to all of us. It touches upon our deepest fears and our greatest hopes, our past and our future. It's a debate about science, ethics, philosophy, and the very soul of our species. The silent bones of our ancient cousins pose a question to the modern world. Are you wise enough? Are you kind enough to welcome us back? Or should we remain in the peace of extinction, a silent testament to a world that once was? The choice may soon be ours. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of the most provocative scientific questions of our time. We've only scratched the surface, and the debate is far from over. What are your final thoughts on this? Should we let the past remain in the past, or should we embrace the future, whatever it may hold? Share your opinion in the comments. Your perspective is a valuable part of this global conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration into the frontiers of science and society. Thanks for watching.